honored to be your master of ceremony for the next few hours. Ambassadors, high commissioners, members of the diplomatic corps, Rwandan community in South Africa, friends of Rwanda, including those attending online, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks the 30th commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The unique nature of this genocide was that it was governed and guided by the rules of the extreme brutality. The genocide went on uninterrupted for 100 days until it was stopped by the Rwandese Patriotic Army. But before it was stopped, already 1 million people had perished. These merciless killings was premeditated, planned ahead of time, so it was not accidents. These were not spontaneous killings. These were not moments of madness, but it was well planned by a fascist and a genocidal regime that tried to exterminate the entire Tutsi community. Why it's important to remember is that this can happen anywhere. And for Rwanda, of course, we have said never again. In this context, I would therefore ask us to make sure that we join the Rwandan community, the Rwanda High Commission, and the Rwanda in general, that this genocide against the Tutsi does not happen again, and does not happen anywhere else. And that's why, again, I would repeat, remembering is important. This was a tragedy. It was a painful chapter in the history of Rwanda, and we wouldn't wish any other country to experience it. With those few remarks, after this brief introduction, I would request that we rise on our feet and pray the Rwandan national anthem.
Rwanda nziza gihugu cyacu, uje imisozi ibiyaga n'ibirunga, mugiduhetse nahoranisha. Reka tukurate tukuvuge ibigwi, wowe tubumbiye hamwe twese abanyarwanda uko watubyaye. Derwa sugira singizwa iteka, horana Imana murage mwiza, ibyo tugukesha ntibishyikirirwa. Umuco dusangiye uraturanga, ururimi rwacu rukaduhuza, ubwenge umutima amaboko yacu ntibigukungahaze bikwiye, n'ugutera imbere ubutitsa. Abakurambere b'intwari bitanze batizigama, baraguhanga uva mu bukombe, utsinda ubukoroni n'amatsi ibihugu byayogoje Afurika yose, none uraganje mu bwigenge, tukomeye kuko turi twese. Komeza imihigo Rwanda dukunda, tuhagurukiye kukwitangira, ngo amahoro asabe mu bagutuye. Wishyire wizane muri byose, urangwe n'icyakutera imbere, uhane umubano n'amahanga yose, maze ijambo ryawe riguhe ijambo.
While we are still standing, let's observe a minute of silence in memory of the genocide victims that perished in 1994. Thank you. You can have your seat. As the protocol demands, I would like to invite Didas Mungaruriye, who is the first counselor at the Rwandan High Commission here in Pretoria, to give his remarks. You are welcome, Didas.
Thank you, Program Director. My name is Didas Mungaruriye, First Counselor at Rwanda High Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, honored guests, today, as we mark Kwibuka 2023, we gather not only to remember and honor those we have lost, but also to reaffirm our unwavering commitment to peace and reconciliation. It is with profound respect and deep gratitude that I welcome each of you to this solemn commemoration. I am honored to begin by recognizing the presence of Her Excellency, Honorable Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, Mrs. Bashengo Dlamini. Your presence underscores the significance of our gathering here today. We are also privileged to welcome distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps who join us on this solidarity on this important day. High Commissioners, ambassadors of Algeria, Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Central African Republic, Chile, China, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Eritrea, European Union, France, the Gambia, Germany, Guyana, Hungary, Iran, Israel, Jamaica, Kenya, Lebanon, Libya, Lithuania, Morocco, Mozambique, Namibia, Netherlands, Nigeria, Norway, Pakistan, Panama, Portugal, Republic of Congo, Republic of Guinea, Senegal, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Tanzania, Togo, Tunisia, USA, and Venezuela. I thank you so much, and I hand over now back to Program Director. Thank you.
Thank you, Didas, for those remarks. I think he mentioned about the reconciliation has been actually one of our successful stories, despite the nightmare of the 1954. Of course, when I talk of the nightmare, I mean the genocide against the Tutsis. Also, the presence of a large number of the diplomats, high commissioners, and ambassadors, of course, is a sign, an obvious sign of solidarity that you are providing to Rwanda so that this event of 1994, the genocide against the Tutsi, does not happen again. So in the African tradition, and I'm sure even the European tradition, honoring the dead and supporting the survivors is an important thing that we all have to follow. The next item on the agenda, we are going to be writing a commemorative candle, and I will request the High Commissioner and your spouse to take the lead. Then it will be followed by the Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, followed by the guests that are seated at the table of the High Commissioner and the Deputy Minister. lighting candle, of course, symbolizes the light of the light at the end of the tunnel. Rwanda has been through hell, has been through darkness, and the lighting of candle is symbolic to the fact that now there is light, now there is sunshine, and we are happy. We'll be lighting 30 candles, symbolizing 30th Commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. And I will be asking the youth also, but they have to wait until our guests are finalized, to be on standby so that they light the candles that will be remaining. Now I request the High Commissioner, the Deputy Minister, and the other senior dignitaries to return to their seats. Thank you very much. And then on our tables we have got electronic candles. I would therefore request that as soon as the high table settles down, we light those electronic candles.
Uwingabire Aleni ndetse na mugenzi we Damashe ntazabibagirwa Kahosi Beatrice ndetse Beata abo bose n'imiryango yabo ntabwo tuzabibagirwa
Thank you very much. I'm sure I can see lights at most of the tables, and this is very important because Rwanda went through darkness for a period of 100 days, and at last we can now see light. I would now request that you continue the program with a song by Nirere, Miss Nirere. She's a daughter of Rwanda. Her songs are well known, especially focusing on the survivors of the genocide. And of course, when this genocide survived, it was not because of the mercy of the killers. They say God worked through mysterious ways. Miss Nirere, you are welcome to come and perform your song at the stage. Thank you very much.
Please I was 9 years old during the genocide, and I've been singing to commemorate our beloved ones since I was 13. I still can't find the words to convey the magnitude of what happened, but as I always sing, and I'm glad to be here to commemorate and to share this moment. I've seen some friends, and I'm so grateful of where our country has come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Chanel Nirere, for that song. The one in English, I'm sure everybody understands, but the one that she sang in Kinyarwanda talks about the troubles, the tribulations, the challenges. People are being hunted like beasts. So it was a painful part of her life. So, and sometimes, in songs, one can easily, portray a message that otherwise wouldn't be able to be, easily told. So She's based here also in South Africa. You can understand at the age of 9 what she went through, but thank God these killers did not succeed in taking away her life. We are going to screen a video. I would request the technicians about, again, the story of the survivors of the genocide. Sometimes it's important that we listen vivid lives that were lived at that time. This is not a fiction. These are facts that perpetuated Rwandan political life in 1994. Please, you can go ahead and screen. It takes only 10 minutes.
Nitwa Immaculée Mukamuhirwa, ndubatse, mfite n'amahirwe yo kuba nitwa mama. Mu gihe cya jenoside, umuryango wanjye mutoya wari ugizwe n'abantu 10, ariko twagize amahirwe yo kurokoka turi 2 gusa. Ababyeyi n'abavandimwe yarabahitanye, bishwe urupfu rubi cyane, nta kindi bazira uretse uko bavutse. Iwacu twari dutuye i Masoro ya Ndera, twari tubayeho neza, ariko twiga muri primaire, njye na musaza wanjye baradutotezaga cyane, bakadukubita. Kiruhuko cya saa 4, saa 6 se dutashye, saa 9 se turi gukina, nimugoroba twongeye dutashye, bakadufata bakadukubita. Kandi n'abarimu bamwe na bamwe bakabatiza umurindi. Ubwo rero muri uko kudutoteza, umusaza wanjye bari baramwise Musinga. Noneho njyewe banyita Kanjogera Nyirabukara. Ubwo rero batubwiraga ko Kanjogera yari umugome cyane, ngo yahaga abana b'abahutu amata, noneho bamara guhaga akabashingamo inkota mu nda ngo akabahagurukiraho. Noneho ibyo bintu rero bikatubabaza. Mutekereze kubwira umuntu w'umwana ngo uri umugome, bigeze kuri icyo kigero. Muri 1994 rero jenoside itangira, nari nubatse. Ku itariki ya 6 z'ukwa 4 1994 twavuye ku kazi nk'ibisanzwe. Nimugoroba nari hamwe na musaza wanjye, twahirwa medali nko mu masaa 3:30. Noneho RTRM tuyishyizemo, twumva baravuze ngo indege ya Perezida Habyarimana bayihanuye. Turadagazwe, tugize ubwoba cyane. Noneho twumvikana ko kugenda mu ijoro indege ya Habyarimana bakihanura ari byo biri butubere ibibazo kurusha kurara tukaza kugenda mu gitondo ariko manywa. Turaryamye, turazindutse ku itariki ya 7, ariko icyo gitondo byarahindutse byose. Batangiye kwica abayobozi, interahamwe n'abasirikare barinjira mu mazu. Ikiyo bakoraga ni ukwica abantu barimo, noneho barangiza tukabona basohoye amateleviziyo, matora, intebe, ibikoresho byo mu nzu. Ubwo buratwica, tubura uko tubigenza. Noneho tubona ko tugomba guhunga. Twaciye nko ku mabariyeri nk'5 ariho interahamwe zariye Karungu, bafite imihoro yuzuye amaraso, bumva radio RTRM, ubona basaze. Inzira yose cyane cyane ku mabariyeri ari imirambo y'abantu. Ubwo rero nabonye umuntu uzajya kunzanira musaza wanjye. Ubwo hari ku itariki ya 11, bucyanye najya kumuzana ku itariki ya 12. Fata telefoni na telefone nticemo, igasona occupé. Ndakomeza ndagerageza biranga. Telefona ku baturanyi bacu, nitabwa n'umukozi. Umukozi arambwira ati bamusanze kuri telefoni. Guhera icyo gihe rero ntabwo nigeze mbona umurambo wa musaza wanjye. Ubwo rero tubaye aho ngaho muri Mirikorine, byageze aho amazi aza kubura. Baza kuduha uruhushya rwo kujya tujya kuvoma amazi muri pisine. Baduha iminota 30 gusa mu gitondo kare. Fata agapuberi niko najyaga kuvomesha. Minuari yari ihari ariko yitwa ngo irinze hoteli, ariko mu by'ukuri hari abajandarume n'abasirikare kandi n'interahamwe zazaga muri hoteli uko zishaka. Tuvuye rero muri Mirikorine tugana Kimihurura, twe twari mu ikamyo nyine ibanza, imbere hari shari ya Minuari. Abasirikare nyine n'izo nterahamwe barabahagarika, hari bariyeri iteye ubwoba. Ubwo interahamwe n'abasirikare baba bahoremesheje basirikare ba Minuari. Intwaro zabo barazishyize hasi, bamanitse amaboko, natwe badusohoye mu makamyo, badushyize mu muhanda. Baratangiye, baratukubise, bati za nkotanyi zari ziducitse, bati maze turebe ibyanyu. Basohoye ibyuma n'imihoro. Ibyuma ntari nakabonye mu buzima bwanjye, ni ubwa mbere mbibonye. Baratangiye baduteye amabuye, mbese nk'uko abantu bicisha inzoka amabuye. Umugabo wanjye bagize gutya, bamukubise icyuma cy'imbunda mu gahanga, aratangiye araviriranye cyane. Noneho dutangira kubasaba imbabazi, atari imbabazi zo kugira ngo batatwica, ahubwo baturase, batugirire vuba. Bati amasasu aragurwa. Turatangiye twikuye udufaranga dufite, abadama utubijo bafite bakabahereza, mbese ibi turiho byose turabahereje. Turarambara aho ngaho nyine mu muhanda. Harimo interahamwe y'umugore, yari yambaye ibintu by'interahamwe ari byo akenyeye. Nubura amaso mbona aza, kubera ko avuze nyine izina ry'umugabo wanjye. Noneho akaguru kamwe agashyira hakurya yacu, mbese ni nk'uko watambuka ariko nturenge. Yewe nta n'ikariso yari yambaye hari, ngira ngo kuko yarazamuye ibyo bitenge bye, aramanuka gato adusobaho. Ni ukuvuga ngo yatugize umwanda. Kugira ngo uzongere weguke uva aho hantu wumve ko uri umuntu, biragoye. Twageze i Kabuga tukajya twinosha ngo twumve ko turi bazima. Noneho tariki 17 z'ukwa gatandatu nibwo umudamu witwa Rusi, yari inshuti ya mama, ambonye ankubise amaso ararira. Nuko ati wihangane rero, ati ibyo ngiye kukubwira ati si byiza, ati iwanyu barabishe. Papa na musaza wanjye babicishije imipanga, nta mpongano n'umwanzi. Habishe urupfu rubi, babatemaguye, babajomba. Nta mpongano y'umwanzi, ni ikintu kimeze nk'umuhini bajombagamo ibintu by'imisumari. Ibyo ngibyo babakubise. Papa bamwica urupfu rubi, kintu kibi yakoze, ubuzima bwe bwari ukugira neza no gukunda abantu. Murumuna wanjye Veneranda yari ahetse uwo mwana Sylvia, yari ataragira n'umwaka, hamurashe mu gatuza, noneho ntiyahita apfa, arakomeza aragoniza aho ngaho. Ubwo yapfuye bukeye, ababishe n'izo nterahamwe bahise basahura inzu. Uko nabibwiwe n'umukozi w'iwacu, kuko we bamushyize ku ruhande, baramubwira bati ntuzongere gukorera abatutsi, ntuzongere gukorera izi nkotanyi na rimwe. Ubwo yarambwiye ati Veneranda yanze gushiramo umwuka vuba, hanyuma akajya n'abasaba amazi yo kunywa, nibamuha amazi yo kunywa. Nta n'uwafashe akenda muri imwe bibaga ngo abatwikire. Birababaje cyane kubona abantu umuntu yabanye nabo neza ari bo baguhinduka. Ariko rero nta kindi twakora uretse gushikama, tukagira imbaraga, tukavuga tuti twebwe twararokotse, twagize amahirwe, iyi kado y'ubuzima tuyikoresha uko dushoboye. Kandi ariko twanabigezeho, kuko abashakaga kutwica bashakaga nyine ko birangira tugasibama, ariko ntitwasibamye, turiho, mfite akazi kantunze n'umuryango wanjye, nta nzara itwica, nta mvura itunyagira, nta mbeho itwica, tumeze neza. Ntabwo dufite ipfunwe ryo kuba twararokotse, kubera ko ntabwo ari icyaha kuba twararokotse, gusa ni amahirwe tuzi ko twagize kandi turayakoresha neza. Utarabishakaga ni ibibazo bimureba.
I know you got the message, but there are some highlights that one would need just to mention. Even when she was still young, she would be humiliated by the teachers because she was a Tutsi. So you can imagine the way the system was built. A child, a young lady, to be told by her teacher that, you know, you are a Tutsi. So you can imagine the kind of environment that she went through. And that's what shows you that what happened in 1994 was not simply as the spark of the president plane that was shot down. It began way back in post-colonial Rwanda, whereby the Tutsis were demonized. So 1994 was just the last straw that broke the camel's back in which the Tutsis were exterminated. But also, she talked about humiliation. It's not about even, you know, somebody can kill you, but they would just hit your leg or your head, they allow you to die slowly. So that's why we are saying that the unique nature of the Rwandan genocide was the extreme brutality that was being guided by especially the political class. Of course, she mentioned about UNAMIR, or MINWAR in French. That was United Nations Mission Assistance to Rwanda that had been, you know, deployed by UN to implement the Arusha Accord that was to be implemented. So there was a misplaced perception that where the UNAMIR was, or where the UN peacekeepers were, people would be saved. But of course, that was a wrong misperception, because people died when the peacekeepers were there, because I think they were overwhelmed or lacked the will or the ability to save the situation. But of course, she ends on a hopeful note, thanking God that she has survived, and, thanking the current government how they have been looked after. There's now life at the end of the hardships and humiliation that they went through. Of course, the role of the international community was very important. The solidarity that Rwanda received. And that's why, at this point, I would like to request the ambassador of Eritrea, who is the dean of the diplomatic corps in Pretoria, Ambassador Sari Omar Abdu, to come and give his remarks. Ambassador, you are welcome to the podium.
Good evening, everybody. Her Excellency, Honorable Meshego Dlamini, Deputy Minister, the the Department of International Relations Cooperation, His Excellency Emmanuel Hategeka, High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda, UN representative, EU delegation representative, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps of the African Head of Missions, Dean of North America, Head of Missions, ambassadors and the High Commissioners, distinguished guests, Rwandan friends, all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, on this solemn occasion, we convene today to observe the 30th anniversary of the Rwandan Tutsi genocide that occurred in 1994. It is above all else a moment of introspection, remembrance, and a call to action to prevent the recurrence of such atrocities. A century of unfathomable atrocities that resulted in the deaths of nearly 1 million innocent people. We are gathered in South Africa, a country that shares a profound historical bond with Rwanda and is steadfast in its dedication to constructing a justice-oriented and harmonious Africa. Not only in Rwanda, but all throughout the continent, the genocide has left profound wounds that are still visible today. The fact that hatred and division are allowed to flourish serves as a clear reminder of the lowest depths that humanity is capable of sinking to. It is imperative that victims, survivors, and the unyielding spirit of the Rwandan people are never forgotten by any of us. As we all recall, 3 decades ago, the global community witnessed with great distress as Rwanda plunged into a state of extreme chaos and suffering. Within a span of only 100 days, close to 1 million individuals lost their lives in a cruel and violent manner, resulting in widespread destruction and profound sorrow. The genocide perpetrated on the Tutsi is a grim testament to the extreme brutality that humanity is capable of, being one of the most somber episodes in the annals of human history. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to remembering the victims, we must also pay tribute to survivors whose tenacity and bravery in the face of unfathomable suffering serve as an inspiration to each and every one of us. Their experience serves as a demonstration of the resilience of the human spirit and serve as a reminder of our common need to speak out against bigotry and injustice wherever it may be found. However, it is not sufficient to just recall the event. To guarantee that a strategy of this magnitude never occurs again. We must also learn from the mistakes of the past. Genocide in Rwanda was exacerbated by ethnic differences, political manipulation, and the lack of international action. International involvement proved unsuccessful. It is imperative that we confront these underlying problems head-on. It is imperative that we derive lessons from historical events and implement tangible measures to ensure that similar acts of violence and cruelty be avoided in the future. To address genocide, we must directly face the underlying factors such as bigotry, intolerance, and the devaluation of human life. Education, therefore, is crucial in this context. It is imperative that we acquire knowledge and impart it to future generations on the perils of prejudice and the significance of embracing diversity and inclusiveness. By fostering comprehensive and compassion, we may construct societies that are more equipped to withstand the influences of animosity and fragmentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa's commitment unequivocally supports Rwanda in the endeavor to achieve reconciliation and justice. We express our admiration for the remarkable progress Rwanda has achieved in the area of nation reconstruction, social cohesion, promotion, and people protection. Your Excellency, your journey provides us all with inspiration. African nations have a responsibility to contribute to the development of a wealthier and more peaceful continent. Continuing regional collaboration and convention is something that we urge in order to handle possible disputes before they become more serious. Additionally, we argue the establishment of more robust international procedures for the early warning, prevention, and the intervention of mass crimes at any earlier stage. Furthermore, we have a responsibility to guarantee that those guilty for genocide and other types of serious crimes are held accountable. The administration of justice is not only necessary for the process of healing and reconciliation, but it also conveys a strong message that impunity will not be accepted. On this commemoration tragic event, let us reassert our dedication to maintaining the principles of peace, tolerance, and the protection of human rights. Let us demonstrate our unity and support for the people of Rwanda and all those impacted by genocide. And let us collaborate to construct a world where such heinous acts are relegated to history. It is crucial to progress together and actively engage in order to envision a more favorable future. The path towards tranquil and affluent Africa is extensive. However, it is a voyage that we must embark upon collectively. By commemorating the victims, drawing lessons from history, and implementing tangible measures, we may construct a future devoid of any recurrence of such heinous acts. It is necessary to combat all manifestations of ethnic animosity, prejudice, and discrimination, to ensure the rule of law, human rights, and peaceful resolution of conflicts. An active society is of paramount importance in ensuring governmental transparency and accountability, and in advancing peace-building endeavors. Poverty, inequality, and the lack of opportunity must be addressed in order to establish a society that is more harmonious and equitable. Kwibuka, remember, unite, renew. Let these words be our guiding light as we work towards a more peaceful and just Africa for all. I thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. I think we have learned a lot from your speech, especially when you insisted that never again, but also you highlighted ethnic manipulation by political class to obtain political mileage. So, and this is exactly what happened in Rwanda, and this is what can happen in any other country. Tolerance, human rights, of course, highlighted your speech. Thank you very much. Of course, Eritrea was among the countries that helped Rwanda at the time of need. Of course, United Nations during the conflict in Rwanda was there. They did what they could, but even in post-genocide Rwanda against the Tutsi, UN again played a key role, especially in ICTR, that's the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, that was based in Arusha. So UN has been in thick of things when it comes to the political situation in Rwanda. And in that context, I would like to request the UN resident coordinator, Mr. Masimba Taferenyika, who is the United Nations Information Center, to come and deliver his message. You are welcome, Director.
Thank you, Program Director. Please allow me to acknowledge the High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda to South Africa, His Excellency Emmanuel Hategeka. Your Excellency, Honorable Deputy Minister for International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, Excellencies, High Commissioners, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, good evening. Let me start by extending my apologies from the resident coordinator of the United Nations in South Africa, Nelson Mufu, who couldn't be with us here today as we join to mark the 30th anniversary of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda under this year's theme, Remember, Unite, Renew. As we remember the million lives lost in the genocide, let their memory inspire us to build a world of understanding and peace. Their spirits urge us to move forward towards unity, compassion, and the strength to prevent such darkness from returning. Together, we honor them by forging a brighter future and a renewal. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now deliver the message from the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, in honor of today, and I quote, "On this day in 1994, and for the nearly 100 days that followed, 1 million Tutsi children, women, and men were killed by their fellow Rwandans. Families turned against families, friends became foes, and a dark spirit of international and brutal violence engulfed a nation. We will never forget the victims of this genocide, nor will we ever forget the bravery and the resilience of those who survived, whose courage and willingness to forgive remain a burst of light and hope amidst this dark chapter in human history. This year, we remind ourselves of genocide's rancid root, hate. To those who would seek to divide us, we must deliver a clear, unequivocal, and urgent message: never again. We can draw a straight line between the senseless slaughter of 1 million Tutsi, as well as some Hutu and others who opposed the genocide, and the decades of hate speech that preceded it, inflamed by ethnic tensions and the long shadow of colonialism. Today, around the world, the darkest impulses of humanity are being awakened once more by the voices of extremism, division, and hate. On this solemn day of remembrance, let's pledge to stand as one against all forms of hatred and discrimination. Let's ensure that the acts that began on the 7th of April 1994 are never forgotten and never repeated anywhere. End of quote. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Director, for the UN Secretary General's message, which of course emphasizes hate speech, which is still prevalent in some parts of the Great Lakes region, and also to reiterate the determination of the United Nations to support the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. I think I will request that we screen again a video on the testimonies by survivors of the genocide, and again, we will be able to understand the full extent of how genocide happened and the challenges that we went through. Please go ahead.
This is Rwanda today, a country transformed over the past 30 years. This new Rwanda has been forged out of the ashes of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, an event that shocked the world. Our story offers a warning of what can happen when political leaders preach division and hatred triumphs over humanity. But it also tells us what can be achieved when a determined people fight together for unity and reconciliation. This new Rwanda has been forged out of the ashes of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, an event that shocked the world. Our story offers a warning of what can happen when political leaders preach division and hatred triumphs over humanity. But it also tells us what can be achieved when a determined people fight together. This is our journey, told by those who have traveled together as we have moved from despair to hope. For much of the world, Rwanda first existed in 1994. And yet, our story starts long before this. Before colonialism, Rwandans had a rich culture, one language, and the people were united around their own organic form of governance. This all changed when colonial powers chose to control Rwandans by ethnicity, creating division and conflict where none had existed previously. This division grew into hatred and violence, culminating in the genocide against the Tutsi, where over 1 million people were murdered in 100 days.
zaba zifite ubuhiri, zifite imipanga aho mu isoko, zibyina nta ukanda burende, bahiga abatutsi mbese mu buryo bukomeye.
Maze kubona bikomeye, abantu batwika, abantu barya inka, abantu batemagurana za bariyeri bazishyizeho, yewe n'abana na madamu tujya kwa databukwe. Bari bafite imbaraga nyinshi. Abo bana rero bahamaze iminsi mike, hanyuma musaza wa madamu se wabo ufindimwe na se n'abandi b'abavandimwe babo nibo bafashe iya mbere, nta wundi wivanzemo, babajyana muri Nyabarongo. Barabaheka baragenda babata muri Nyabarongo, barangije barataha.
Muri jenoside 94 banyiciye imiryango yanjye mu bana 9 nabyaye, hasigayemo twana tubiri.
Abana ba Mariya babiri n'umugabo wa Mariya, abo bose badusanze kuri bariyeri twe turagira kubica. Abagabo bacu babazamuye mu ngo bababwira ngo tugende tujye kwirinda, ariko bo bazi ikigiye kuvamo. Bahera ku mugabo wanjye kuko bari kuri liste, bahita bamutsinda aho ngaho haruguru y'urugo gatoya, barabarashe, babamurashe amasasu, umwe aravuga ngo n'uyu sha mbaye hanuyu.
This genocide was long planned by the government of the time, who used education and the media to divide Rwandans, creating the conditions for the genocide to happen. The preparation of the genocide and of the 100 days of killings happened in full view of the world, who stood by, watched, and did nothing. No one came to Rwanda's rescue. The killings were only stopped when the Rwanda Patriotic Front overthrew the genocidal government. From that moment, Rwandans began the long, hard road to recovery, healing, and reconciliation.
mu mwaka w'ibihumbi 2004 nibwo nafashe icyemezo cyo gusaba imbabazi Mariya. Mfati umwanzuro numvaga mvuga nti se wenda yaba ntari namusanzeyo kuko numvaga mfite ubwoba. Nkongera nkavuga nti se ubundi amaherezo yazaba yahe. Ngize amahirwe rero ubwo nuvuga ngo Mariya asanze ariyo. Nibwo namubwiye nti uko biri kose urabizi njye ndi mu bantu nyine bakwiciye ariko noneho ndagira ngo umpe imbabazi.
Byagiye bigenda gahoro uko dusabana, uko duhura, uko tuvugana, uko twigishwa, haciye mu nyigisho nyinshi cyane. Ntabwo byari byoroshye.
Hari ahantu neza nemereye neza ko imbabazi yazimpaye. Narangiye ngira ku isantere ahantu mbambonye Mariya, naramuhamagaye turasangira, mbona aremeye turasangira. Muri njye uwo munsi numvise arimo nafunguwe, numvise arimo mvuye muri gereza.
To heal the wounds of a nation where neighbors killed neighbors, and even some family members turned on each other, the new Rwanda had to find a way to deliver justice for the victims, which could manage the scale of the crimes, and could also heal the torn social fabric of our society. So, we turn to our history for the answer. We set up Gacaca tribunals, a traditional form of community justice where citizens elected Inyanga Mugayo, men and women of integrity in their communities, who heard almost 2 million genocide cases. This not only ensured that justice was delivered, but also established the truth of the killings. Reconciliation could begin at last.
Gacaca zimaze kugeramo abaturage tugakorana, bari abafunguye bakaza bagashinjanya. Kanaka uwe kanaka twajyanye mu gitero, uwe kanaka twajyanye mu gitero, ngo kuko abakoze jenoside, ngo kuko bagaragaye.
Abenshi rero muri Gacaca byatumye bamenya uko ababo bishwe, barihangana barabyakira, bamenya naho bajuguye.
We asked that the genocide survivors make huge sacrifices by putting aside their desire for retribution in favor of forgiveness and reconciliation. And we asked all Rwandans to leave the ethnic divisions in the past and embrace a future of Ndumunya Rwanda, where we are all Rwandan.
Nabaga muri CNLD, naje mfite ipeti rya General de Brigade. Kuyo dufata icyemezo tukava muri CNLD tukaza mu Rwanda, nuko twari tumaze kumenya neza ko leta y'u Rwanda ifite gahunda nziza yo kunga abanyarwanda, ikangurira abanyarwanda aho bari hose batahuke mu mahoro, kandi waza ikakwakira neza nk'umunyarwanda, ugatura aho ushaka utuje utekanye nta kibazo gihari. Muri RDF igihe mazemo nabonye nta vangura ribamo, umuntu akora akazi ashinzwe nta kindi.
Rwanda is still a work in progress. It is up to the next generations to learn the true story of our past, to protect against genocide, denial, and hate, and keep the memory and the lessons of our history alive.
En fait, le négationnisme est en pleine expansion sur Internet, sur les réseaux sociaux, puis sur Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Le discours n'a pas changé. Certaines personnes vont par exemple prétendre que le génocide n'a pas été planifié, mais que les gens se sont mis en colère et ont commencé à tuer. Il faut qu'on soit plus nombreux à protéger la vérité, à protéger l'histoire du génocide contre les Tutsis sur ces plateformes-là.
We have made progress across every sector, creating a secure and ambitious country which offers opportunity and hope to all Rwandans.
Byahindutse ni byinshi nyuma ya jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi. Umwana ariko akabona buruse atitawe ngo n'ukwande.
Ndi umukobwa ukora mu bijyanye n'ubuvuzi ndetse nkaba ndi no muri siporo kandi byose nkabikora neza. Rero umwana w'umukobwa icyo bamubwira nuko turashoboye muri rusange, ibyo twajyamo byose dushoboye kubikora neza, ndetse turanahagarariwe hirya no hino kugeza ku mudugudu, turahagarariwe n'ijwi ryacu rishobora kumvikana.
For our friends around the world, we thank you for continuing to stand with us and ask you to share Rwanda's story and what we've learned about division and reconciliation at a time when the world seems increasingly more fractured. Rwanda's experience is one of unimaginable loss, but it is also the story of a people determined, of resilience, of sacrifice, and of rebirth. Rwanda today is proof that out of the depths of despair can come great hope.
Thank you very much. Of course, the video, of course, depicts the painful experience of the survivors. I think the lady talked about she had 9 children, and she remained with only 2 after the rest were killed, thrown into rivers and lakes, and no one came to the rescue of Rwanda at that time. People in prisons were in thousands, and that's why they introduced gacaca courts. This is an ancient tradition of community justice, so it had to be brought back to fashion so as to clear the backlog of the people who had committed genocide against the Tutsis. Of course, the video also highlights the progress. Even those who are the critics of Rwanda do accept that the country has moved on, progress has been made, and we are nearing prosperity. Indeed, for this to happen, it's up to the new generation to come and right the wrongs of the past so as to make Rwanda move forward. In that context, we are going to request a poem from the youth to come and make their presentation. Hope the people are ready to come. Thank you.
Rwanda, my beloved country. One people, one language, one culture. We are a family. Why your people kill your own people? We remember Kwibuka.
Is the silence an answer? Of course, no. Can they understand what's happened? Of course, no. Even myself, I don't understand. I don't understand what they did to you. I can't turn back on yesterday.
As sad as my parents, as bad as the genocide, this memory cannot slide. Survivors cried, remembering their families died.
They tried to survive, but didn't make it alive. 1994 must be the worst year, too difficult to bear.
Our nightmare came true. Our family were being killed by the Hutu militia. We have parents, you have parents, I have parents, because of God's presence.
This news has me blown. But at least you aren't alone. Having mixed feelings about being able to survive and leaving others behind is a disaster in my mind.
It sounds odd, but what matters is that we have God. 1994 took away our Ubuntu, our beloved family. We were not given the chance to meet you. We are here to remember and honor your legacy. We will not forget.
We remember not to be pinned down by depression. We look back as we await for the resurrection of the nation's hearts. We remember the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. United as young Rwandans, we renew our commitment to never again to genocide.
Remember, unite, renew.
Thank you, youth. Good to hear your determination, even though you don't know what, you were not there when the genocide against the Tutsi took place. But as we said in the past, it's the youth that will be able to create a harmonious living among the Rwandans and, of course, the rest of the world. I'm not sure if Ms. Nirere, please, can you come and share again a song?
The next song is called Araho. It's a tribute to the resilience of the survivors, and it's a dedication to Lucy Kaminga. She was the same age as me, and unfortunately, due to the recidive trauma, she passed away. Araho. Because what happened was atrocious. But we refuse to be held hostage to our grief. We continue to build up ourselves and uplift our nation. In sorrow grasp, we stand tall, planting peace to heal us all. And in unity, our strength will always survive.
Wa mubyeyi wagizwe incike ariho atariho uko abonye bibonda amabere arikora umutuzo n'ibitotsi abiheruka muri rimwe
Okay, thank you very much, Nirere Chanel, for that touching song, which she has dedicated, or being dedicated to her colleagues and family members, which, very touching because they are not around, they died during the genocide, but she's also reminding them that she remained and God has been with her. We are blessed today to have the Deputy Minister for the International Relations and Cooperation, Madam Kandithi Mashengo Dlamini. Remember, South Africa was among those countries that assisted Rwanda in the hour of need. While the liberation had defeated the genocide forces, but of course there was a nation to build. And South Africa played a key role in holding hand Rwanda in the hour of need. Honorable Minister, it's my great honor and pleasure to invite you to come and make your remarks.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Your Excellency, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency, Mr. Emmanuel Hategeka, and your spouse, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, representatives of the diplomatic missions, the UN Information Center Director who's in our midst, distinguished guests, members of the Rwandan community in South Africa, fellow South Africans, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be here today to join you in the 30th Commemoration of the Genocide against the Tutsi. His Excellency President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa paid a successful working visit to the Republic of Rwanda from the 6th to the 7th April 2024. He joined fellow heads of state and government and other dignitaries for a wreath-laying ceremony at the Kigali Genocide Memorial. On behalf of government and the people of South Africa, let me take this opportunity to thank you for inviting us to this important event. I am honored to be here today to join you in the 30th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi. As we pause to solemnly mark a significant milestone in history to reflect on the atrocities that unfolded in 1994, we are reminded of the immense human cost of hatred, intolerance, and division. 30 years ago, the world watched in horror as neighbors turned against each other, as friends became foes, and as the fabric of Rwanda society was torn apart by violence and bloodshed. The genocide claimed the lives of nearly 1 million innocent men and women and children in just 100 days. It was a stark reminder of the depth to which humanity can sink when fueled by prejudice and ignorance. But amidst darkness, there were also stories of courage, resilience, and hope. Ordinary Rwandans risked their lives to shelter and protect their fellow citizens. Humanitarian workers braved danger to provide aid and support to those in need. Survivors, despite enduring unimaginable trauma, found the strength to rebuild their lives and their communities. Today, as we honor the memory of those who were lost, we reaffirm our commitment to ensuring that such a tragedy never happen again. We must confront the forces of hatred and division wherever they may arise and stand up for the value of tolerance, inclusion, and respect for human dignity. As we reflect on the lessons of the genocide against the Tutsi, let us recommit ourselves to the pursuit of justice and reconciliation. Let us continue to provide assistance and support to the survivors of the genocide and their families. Let us work tirelessly to build a world where every individual can live free from fear of persecution or violence. The genocide against the Tutsi coincided with South African 30 years of democracy and justice. We are ever mindful that with freedom comes as responsibility to work for peace, justice, and human rights everywhere. We will continue to strive to uphold this duty, not just for ourselves, but for all people everywhere. In President Ramaphosa's weekly newsletter, he remarks, I quote, "It should never be, it must never be, that atrocities, gross human rights violation, and genocide should somehow carry less weight because of the race, ethnicity, or religious affiliation of the victims. We owe it to the victim of all the world's genocides to not betray their memories by looking away, by failing to act, or worst of all, by claiming we did not know," close quote. In conclusion, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, let us honor the memory of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi by committing ourselves to building a future of peace, understanding, and solidarity. May their legacy inspire us to strive for a world where the heroes of genocide are nothing but a distant memory. I thank you.
Thank you very much, High Excellency Deputy Minister. It should never be, it must never be. Those are strong words, and thank you very much for that. At this juncture, I would like to request the High Commissioner of Rwanda, South Africa, His Excellency Emmanuel Hategeka, to come and give his speech. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, Mrs. H.E Dramini, Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, and our chief guest, Your Excellency, Mr. Sali Omar Abdu, Ambassador of Eritrea and Dean of Diplomatic Corps, Excellency, UN Information Center Director, representing the UN here, Excellencies, Ambassadors, Chargé d'Affaires, all members of the Diplomatic Corps, heads of international organizations, and representatives here present, esteemed partners, friends of Rwanda, fellow Rwandans, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. A very good afternoon, and thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We feel honored and strengthened by your presence. As we gather today to mark the 30th commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, we are drawn into a moment of deep reflection, mourning the loss of over 1 million lives that perished in just 100 days from the April 7th of 1994. Equally, we are filled with a profound sense of appreciation for the resilience that has since defined the spirit of Rwanda from the time the armed forces of the Rwanda Patriotic Front, led by President Paul Kagame, from the time they captured Kigali, defeated the genocidal regime, and stopped the genocide, at a time when the whole world had turned their back on Rwanda. The survivors among us, with their incredible stories of courage and endurance, remind us of the indomitable strength that has propelled Rwanda forward on a path of recovery and national unity. Their experiences, marked by unimaginable depth of suffering, have become the bedrock of our nation's resolve to forge a future where such atrocities are never repeated. Excellencies, dear friends of Rwanda, fellow Rwandans, the roots of the genocide against the Tutsi, deeply embedded in our history, were marked by colonial manipulation and policies that were institutionalized by subsequent regimes post-independence that favored ethnic divisions, sowing these seeds of discord among Rwandans. In reflecting on this chapter of our history, we acknowledge the dangers of divisionism and the catastrophic consequences of allowing hatred to flourish unchecked. Our commemoration today is not only an act of mourning our dead, but also a vigilant acknowledgement of the signs that led to the genocide. The dehumanization of Tutsis as cockroaches, as snakes, as enemies of the state, the incitement using radio, television, and even the churches, and the normalization of hatred and killing of the Tutsi with impunity. The journey post-genocide has been one of rebuilding, as you saw in the video, not just in physical terms, but in the essence of our national spirit. Our commitment to always remember the lives lost, honoring survivors, and truthfully recounting the events of 1994 forms the bedrock of our nation-building efforts. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our commitment to the act of remembrance that we are doing here today extends its reach far beyond our borders, embracing the global community. This underscores our profound belief in the intrinsic value of memory as an indispensable instrument in averting the tragedies of the future. Through this global engagement, we not only honor the legacy of those who suffered, but also affirm our collective responsibility to protect lives. The significance of establishing memory symbols worldwide, and we have a few in some countries, cannot be overstated. These symbols serve as tangible reminders of the resilience of the Rwandan people and the nation's journey towards healing. They are not mere structures, but sacred spaces that echo our collective responsibility to prevent future atrocities and stand as beacons of humanity's resolve against genocide. Central to preserving our collective memory is integrating comprehensive education about the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi into education curricula, which we've already done in Rwanda. By educating future generations, we empower them with the knowledge to identify and resist ideologies of hate, guiding us on a path toward a world where every life matters. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in parallel, it's crucial to highlight the necessity for UN member countries to implement and uphold legislation that demands the arrest and prosecution of those who fled justice after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. The lingering presence of these perpetrators not only impedes our journey of healing, but also challenges the very essence of international justice. The enactment of such legislation delivers a clear stance against the impunity of these grave crimes, reinforcing our commitment to accountability and moral integrity. Today, as we stand united in remembrance, a pressing question looms before us. Why do our pledges of never again falter when action is most needed? Despite global recognition of genocide, denial, as an extension of the genocide itself, why does it remain unchecked by law? This glaring inaction starkly challenges the authenticity of our global commitment. Are we merely content with words, or are we prepared to enact the necessary laws? Our moral duty demands robust legal frameworks that criminalize genocide denial. Let us not merely echo principles, let us enact and enforce them. Excellencies, following the genocide, perpetrators seeking refuge internationally have persisted in disseminating the genocide denial ideologies. And even presently, the spread of revisionist narratives through social media and academic discourse poses a severe menace as they erode the fabric of our collective memory of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Clearly, denial is the last stage of genocide against a backdrop that the perpetrators who intend to wipe out a targeted group of people with no one left to tell believe when there's nobody to tell the story, they can come back and deny it never happened. Good enough, ntabapfira gushira. There's always a survivor to tell the story. President Paul Kagame had this to say during the 30th Commemoration of the Genocide against the Tutsi that took place on the 7th of April 2024 in Kigali, and I quote, "Rwandans will never understand why any country would remain intentionally vague about who was targeted in the genocide, about what happened in Rwanda. Such ambiguity is in fact a form of denial, which is a crime in and of itself, and Rwanda will always challenge it." End of quote. Not far from Rwanda, particularly in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, bells of discrimination and hate are ringing louder every day, targeting the Tutsi communities of DRC. As you know, our communities, our social structure is spread across the continent, and tribes, countries, families share borders, though of different nationalities. The genocide ideology espoused by groups like the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, FDLR, composed of remnants of the forces that fled Rwanda after committing the genocide, is in full rehearsal against the Tutsi communities of the region with support and impunity by the host government that accommodates this genocidal terrorist organization bent on regime change in Rwanda and completing their unfinished business of wiping out the Tutsis in this day and age. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude today's commemoration, I wish to honor three crucial groups pivotal to Rwanda's resilience and renewal. To the survivors, your strength and courage are the heartbeat of our nation. You have shown us the power of forgiveness and the strength of the human spirit. I'm sure you saw the Lady Maria in the movie and how she's been able, through constant education, to live side by side with her killers. Your legacy is the foundation of Rwanda's healing journey and will guide our future generations. To the youth of Rwanda, and I'm impressed by the poem of the young people that just was shared with us. You are the architects of our future, equipped with the lessons of our past and innovations of today. Embrace your role as custodians of our history and as pioneers of a new generation of Ndomunyarwanda, defined by unity, dignity, and respect of each other. Your energy and vision are essential as we strive to build a society that stands as a beacon of hope and transformation. To our international partners, and again I would like to pay tribute to my host country, South Africa. I had the opportunity to share the same with President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday this week when I presented my credentials. Like my president said, South Africa, along with other countries, was among the very first to come to the rescue of Rwanda post-1994 to aid our recovery, even when nobody believed Rwanda would wake up again. Most had given us a nod of disapproval as a failed state. But countries closer to us were ready to hold our hand. Your solidarity has been crucial in Rwanda's transformation, from the ashes of genocide to a capable, safe, and thriving nation. Our partnerships built on shared values and respect should be nurtured to achieve our shared goals of development, peace, and stability on a global scale. As we depart from here, let us take forward the spirit of Kwibuka. Kwibuka is to remember in Kinyarwanda, with a renewed dedication to fighting all forms of divisionism and hatred across the human race. Let us strive for a future where the horrors of our past are never repeated and where every life is cherished. Thank you for your presence here today. I thank you for your commitment, and I thank you for your steadfast support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner Emmanuel Hategeka, for that wonderful and informative speech. The end of the High Commissioner's speech also marks the beginning of the end of our today's commemoration of the 30th genocide against the Tutsi that happened in 1994. There are some communications to make. I would like to invite our honored guests, the Deputy Minister, the Diplomatic Corps, members of the international organizations, to join High Commissioner and Madam for a group photo. We would also like to request those who may not have, signed the book of commemoration to do so. As you go back to your respective homes, may God be your guide and may God bless you. Thank you very much. People can guide our guests where the photo will be taken. Thank you.
imyaka ibaye myinshi twibuka abacu bazize jenoside ntiduteze kuzacika intege oya oya tubabwira ko mwakoze ishyano
mwahekuye igihugu mwiciye